There is a Friday night game. Chorley versus Wolves is a Saturday morning, 3:45 a.m. kickoff. Chorley are currently 9th in National League North. And Bob Holmes, there's history in this tie. You're going to tell us about 1986 now, aren't you?
I think you've read it more than I have, actually. But the history in this season is actually worth telling, because they've knocked out 3 league clubs. National League North, for people's benefit, is actually one stage below the National League, which is one below League 2. I know many people in Malaysia don't even look beyond the Premier League, but we are talking here a pretty low level of football. But they've beaten 3 league teams. One, you have to say that Derby, they sent the kids out. They had a COVID outbreak and they could only field a junior team. So that's a little bit false. But they've also beaten Wigan and Peterborough. And they, any team in this competition this season, I think, is vulnerable. We have seen some amazing results. It's a weird season, and I think the empty grounds, COVID and everything else have had a lot to do with it. So even a team as low down as Chorley will actually fancy that they can pull off a surprise here. And, the way things are going, you can't rule it out. I mean, I wouldn't put 2 cents on them doing so, but Wolves have looked a bit vulnerable this season. They haven't been the Wolves of the past 2 seasons. They haven't got a number 9. We know that's well documented. And how seriously they're going to take this, we don't know. They won't fancy going there on a Friday night, on a wet Friday night at Chorley. It doesn't quite have the ring of a windy Tuesday night at Stoke used to, but it's not going to be an enjoyable run out, I don't think, for Wolves, unless they can get an early goal to ease their concerns.
Yeah, I mean, back in '86, Wolves were in the 4th division. They're in a much better state right now. So this would be a shock of mammoth proportions if it happens.
It would. I love these kind of games. This is what the Cup is all about. People in this part of the world would not have heard of Chorley, a little town in the northwest. Chorley had a very good season last year, and they're competing towards the top end of the National League North this year. So they're clearly a group of players with some confidence. I can't profess to know an awful lot about their players. What I do know is that Wolves are in a dreadful spiral of a lack of confidence, and quite what Bob said, if Wolves get an early goal, then Wolves should be good enough to see this through. If Chorley get the first goal, gosh, we could see an upset. It wouldn't have been, in 1986, it wasn't that much of an upset, because as you say, Wolves were right down in Division 4 as was then, League 2 as is now, because they had a precipitous fall from winning the League Cup in 1980 to 1986 when they were right at their depths. But they're now amongst the elite. Come on, Chorley. I'd love the Northern Premier League, as I still call them, or the National League North boys, to do it well, because it just illustrates that all the mega money, which I can continually go on about the top teams and the obscene amounts of money that they earn, and they say, it's because we're so much better than the guys below you. This is the opportunity for them to show that's not the case. Come on, Chorley.
Just to illustrate what Des is saying, romance of the Cup and all that, Chorley captain Scott Leather has booked the day off. His job is a lift engineer. So he's booked the day off on Friday to concentrate on the game. Chorley versus Wolves is your first banana skin of the weekend. It is a Saturday 3:45 a.m. kickoff. Southampton versus Arsenal is Saturday at 8:15. Arsenal had a 3-0 victory over Newcastle on Monday night. It was their 5th straight clean sheet, Craig Marias. And you feel Arteta's Gunners have turned the corner. They've shed some players in this transfer window. They're even talking about new signings now.
Yeah. I like what Arteta's done. I said it before the blip. I did say, Arsenal at the back end of last season, coming into this season, I thought, they'd be they'd be one of the teams to watch out for. They disappointed. They had that massive blip where nothing was going for them. They had a few injuries to the defense, to Partey in midfield. But now they seem to kind of build a solid foundation at the back. I think Tierney's there. Holding has improved tremendously, and he's formed a partnership at the back. Partey's just coming back to a bit of form. Xhaka has kind of upped his game a little bit, and even Aubameyang is scoring goals, so that says quite a bit. It was all, I think with certain teams, you're always going to get that blip, as Liverpool going through, Chelsea have gone through, Arsenal have gone through their period, and now they're getting into a bit of run of form, and I think this is a good Arsenal side to watch, and it is really interesting to see how high up the table in the league that Arteta can finish with the Premier with the Cup as well. They're defending champions, aren't they?
Yeah.
In the FA Cup. So it'll be interesting to see how much they want to. Are they going to put their full strength squad out? Are they going to save it? With a lot of games coming up, they've got some tough fixtures as well. So it'll be interesting to see what Mikel Arteta and how he prioritizes it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a 6-game unbeaten run at the moment. They're going well, but it is a tricky tie, Bob. Away at Southampton, we've said in previous shows, this would be a good one for Hasenhüttl and his side to win, to show progress.
Yes, it would. And Hasenhüttl won the Austrian Cup as a player a couple of times. So that shows that he might just value the cup tournaments, which not all foreign managers do. And yes,
Did Arteta win it?
Well, he was here quite a long time. He must have won it with Arsenal. They win it every other year, don't they? Speaking of Arteta, during that blip, I was looking to see if there were any grey hairs appearing on his immaculate black head.
It is immaculate.
There aren't any. So I think that speaks volumes for the man. I mean, if he can weather a storm like that and not have a single grey hair, then he's a cool customer. But back to the game. Yes, I think this would be the tie of the round, but for a certain one taking place at Old Trafford. Intriguing stuff. Danny Ings could be back from COVID. And interestingly, he's not signed a new contract. And what are they going to do? I can think of one club that could do with a goal scorer right now. Liverpool.
We don't buy Southampton players.
Not ones you've already bought before, anyway.
Well, he was at Burnley before that, Des.
Yeah.
Bless him.
It'll be a fascinating game. I think they'll go for it. Both managers will go for this.
Okay.
Because I don't think Arsenal can win the league, and retaining the FA Cup would mean a lot to them.
Just to stick on this Danny Ings subject, he is obviously a driving force for the Southampton side. Hasenhüttl has come out and said all the right things. He said, look, life goes on. We will find someone else, etc., etc. And if Danny Ings wants to play in a Champions League club, all he has to do is stay with us and bang another 15 goals in, which I thought was great.
That's simple.
It's that simple. Des, how can you blame Ings for wanting? Maybe this would be his last push, isn't it, in his career?
It would be, and it's been an injury-plagued career. It's 2 huge injuries, one just after his move from Burnley to Liverpool, and then the second one at Anfield as well. But you know what? I really do agree with Ralph Hasenhüttl on this. Old school I am. Because you keep hearing it about the top players, want to play in the Champions League. Well, we bought you to get, so we're competing at the Champions League level. So if you can't get us there, then you don't deserve to be there. But to be fair, he's scored goals galore for them. By all accounts, he's a model professional. When he left Anfield, there were reams and reams of notes from the backroom staff saying what a great fella he was, how hard he worked, how he never caused a moment's trouble despite all the injury problems. So there's always a soft spot for him there. And yes, there's individual ambition. But there is something with what Hasenhüttl says as well. And in the terms of equity, I tell you what, everything's meant to be fair. We're meant to be equal with everyone now. That's the new world order, isn't it? With Mr. Biden coming in, everyone is going to be given a chance. I reckon the smaller clubs ought to really be able to be in the financial league where they're able to hold on to the Danny Ings. I know it's a pipe dream. I know it's all a falsehood. But wouldn't it be nice if that was the case? It was that case in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s. Why can't it be again?
Can I just touch on the Danny Ings subject? For me, Danny Ings, obviously the talisman there, scores a lot of goals for Southampton. But when he makes that move to that Champions League club, is he going to be playing first team football? Or is he going to play backup? I look at the top sides, the ones that are favourites for the Champions League. And I can't see where he gets in. He doesn't get into Liverpool, doesn't get into Spurs, doesn't get into United, doesn't get into Chelsea. The only one I can see him get into is Leicester. And that could be the team where he goes for if they qualify for the Champions League.
Good shout. All right. Southampton versus Arsenal is Saturday at 8:15. On with our FA Cup fourth round previews then. Cheltenham Town take on Manchester City. Sunday at 1:30 a.m. Bob Holmes, there are 71 places between Man City and Cheltenham in the football pyramid. Des mentioned it before, the romance of the cup. This is another one of those ties, isn't it?
Absolutely. And although Cheltenham are higher up the pyramid than Chorley are, I think this would be a bigger upset because it's Man City. This would be mega, absolutely mega. And you can see that Pep will be resting players. He's virtually got to. He's got a COVID problem there. Aguero has got COVID now. He's hardly played. He's been injured and not quite ready and come on a couple of times as a sub. But you begin to worry whether we've seen the best of him in a Man City shirt. Banana skin, you can't really see. You never can. You never can. That's the beauty of them.
Yeah.
You just don't see these upsets coming. But on the Richter scale, this would be a 10. And City, under Pep, Pep's been in the country long enough now to appreciate cups. He even appreciates the League Cup. He likes winning pots. And they won't want the humiliation of getting in the record books as one of the giants that have been slain by a David. Cheltenham it's better known for horse racing than football, and a ladies' college, but not for football. It's not a football town. They've got no history really at all. So for City to go there and lose is absolutely unthinkable. But in this crazy season, don't rule anything out.
It is one of the most uneven ties of the weekend. I'm going to read you, Des Colkill, a quote here from the Cheltenham manager, Michael Duff. He says, "We have a long throw taker. We have people who are really good in the air in terms of set plays. But the thing is, can we get a throw in their half?"
They've also got to be careful that the opposition goalkeeper doesn't score against them as well, because that's exactly what happened in the last game that they drew against Newport. The goalkeeper, King, scored against Josh Griffiths, I think it was, from 96 yards, the longest ever goal scored. It's gone down officially as because it was wind assisted at Whaddon Road. But again, this is one of those occasions you'd love the crowds to be there. You'd love to see a homely stadium that's been revamped like Whaddon Road, a community area. It may not have a big football tradition, but they love their football down in that Gloucester, Cheltenham area. They do live for it. There's a lot of Liverpool and Man United fans who travel north. This is a bit of a reward for those Cheltenham fans who don't travel to see the big city clubs. And so this is the kind of thing, the kind of game where, again, Cheltenham, it's in the public spotlight, not for racing, not for the Cricket Cheltenham Festival, not for the Ladies' College, but for their football club and the opportunity for them to actually maybe cause an upset. the chances on it, I wouldn't put Craig's money on it. I wouldn't put your money on it, Ross. But wow, wouldn't it be fabulous if it were to happen?
Well, I would gladly give you the 5 pence I have left in my account. But let's look at the City youngsters here. Pep will he's like Bob mentioned, Craig. He's been in England long enough. He knows about cups. He likes winning cups. You expect to see him blend in some of the youngsters, and of the City youngsters, Zach Stefan, Liam Delap. They're all quite promising. They might get a run out this weekend.
Yeah, they might. I think Zach Stefan definitely gets a run out this. I'm not so sure about Liam Delap.
Got a long throw though. He could counter.
He'll get on the end of his dad's throw. I think if you look at that City squad, there are a lot of players that haven't played a lot of football as well. You're talking about Laporte. I think he's back in training. Benjamin Mendy, he's been on the bench a lot. He'd probably get a run out. And there are players, I think, Silvers will play. He hasn't had a lot of football this season. I think Gundogan probably gets a rest. Garcia, I'm not sure about his status, if he's back fit. But there are quite a few within that City squad that haven't had as many games as they'd like to. So I think this is a game where Pep will definitely give them a run out. In terms of the youngsters, I think Delap, he scored already this season for the senior team, hasn't he? In the League Cup, if I'm not mistaken. So he's had a taste for it. He definitely wants another go. But I reckon they'll field a couple of strong players as well. Senior players just to avoid that possibility of an FA Cup upset. It's very unlikely, as Des said. It's very unlikely, but never rule it out. I mean, that's the beauty of the FA Cup, and a lot of people have said it's lost its magic, this, that, the other. I think, the Crawley Town win over Leeds proof that there's still a lot of magic in the FA Cup.
Yeah. All right. Cheltenham are not in great form at the moment. Just a 1 win in their last 9 fixtures. Cheltenham Town against Manchester City then is a Sunday, 1:30 a.m. kickoff. Chelsea versus Luton Town is Sunday at 8 p.m. Bob Holmes, fast forward to a Luton win. What are the headlines going to be the following day? Will Lampard survive? I mean, even if it's just a regulation win, no one's going to raise an eyebrow here. Even if he thrashes Luton, not a lot's going to be said. But if a Luton win happens, hey, Bob.
Yes, I know you like sacking managers, don't you? You've been a bit down this season because there haven't been quite so many.
There's a chairman in me somewhere.
I think if Frank Lampard, the way the papers are talking, if he wins the FA Cup, he may still get sacked. If he doesn't get into the top 4, even if he does get into the top 4. And wins the FA Cup, he may get sacked. So, yeah, he's on a hiding to nothing here. I mean, Luton are no great shakes. They're mid-table in the Championship. They do have aspirations for the playoffs, but I don't think they could quite cut it in the Premier League. But it would be a major upset if Chelsea were to lose this, no question about it. And then I think it will influence Frank's selection here. He chops and changes at the best of times. He doesn't know his best side yet, and we're halfway through the season. And he's given everybody a chance. He's had a good look at practically everybody now, and still doesn't know. And frankly, I heard a pundit from Germany saying that in the Bundesliga, they're absolutely perplexed by the problems that Havertz and Werner have had. They thought they would hit the ground running in England because they're both high quality internationals, and they haven't done, although Werner didn't start too badly, but Havertz just hasn't done it at all, has he? Looks out of place totally. And the Frank Lampard is getting the blame. And I think when you see the side not really performing in any coherent way or even formation, he's chopping and changing everything. And inexplicable was the decision to replace Zuma with Rudiger at the back. I don't know what made him do that, and Zuma was popping one or two in at the other end as well, which was a little bit of a bonus. We thought at the beginning that by solving the goalkeeping problem, which he did, that was it, and they went on a bit of a run and looked quite good, but it hasn't worked out, and the buck stops with the manager, doesn't it? And so he'll be very wary of this game. And, he won't be reading the Sunday papers if they lose this game. I think he'll still be in a job because they haven't decided on a successor. There's no obvious candidate screaming out there to say, take me. So I think until they finally decide on who, but it does look pretty bleak for Frank Lampard. I'm sorry to say that because I think he's a good bloke. I think he needs time. If he was at another club, he might get the time, but not at Chelsea, despite being a club legend. I don't think he's going to survive. He might last until the end of the season, but beyond that, I doubt it very much.
Yeah, so years ago when I was playing Welsh League, Nathan Jones, the Luton manager, was a player with my Steg, and he was a hard little left back who went on to have a journeyman career and ended up at Luton when they were in the conference and got them promoted, left and went back again. So we've always been following, or I've always been following Nathan Jones just to see how a lad from the Ronda can really do it. He's a Blaine Ronda boy. He's a hardworking guy. He's done things the right way. He's worked his way up right the way through the levels. It's these individual stories that the pyramid continually operates, and Luton are mid-table now in the Championship, which is a heck of an elevation to where they were just 5 years ago when they were in danger of going out of business. And I think it's just a fabulous personal story and the merits of the pyramid. You can make a career midway down. You can build a reputation from right the way from Welsh League, right the way up through the non-leagues and into the Championship. I think it's a great system, and Malaysia and Southeast Asia has so much to learn from it.
Indeed. Chelsea versus Luton Town, Sunday, 8 p.m. kickoff. Brentford take on Leicester City. This is a Sunday, 10:30 p.m. kickoff. Thomas Frank's side have defeated Championship rivals Middlesbrough to reach the fourth round. They have survived really well, Bob Holmes, Brentford, haven't they? Considering sales of big players, they are the ultimate Moneyball side.
They are, and they're flirting with the places again. Not quite as consistently as last season when they missed out, but to replace the two main men that they sold for quite big money, Ollie Watkins and Ben Rama, with guys who are just about as good, and they'll probably sell them on as well in a couple of years' time, make a nice profit and keep the club on a sound footing. That's what they're about. I'm not so sure I'd want to be a Brentford supporter with that kind of policy, because it does seem a little bit futile. I mean, they didn't make it into the Premier League. They missed narrowly last season. They failed in the playoffs, beaten by Fulham. But if they did get there, what sort of future would they have? I mean, it'd be another Sheffield United, wouldn't it? But I can't see them going up this year, actually. So they'll go for it in the FA Cup, have a bit of glory. Leicester getting all the plaudits now for challenging right at the top end of the league. Brentford, yes, a possible upset here, a banana skin. You can't see Leicester taking this quite as seriously. Their focus is on the title. They believe they can win it. And I think we might see some players rested, and Brentford could be up for this. So possible upset here. I would say definitely.
They met Same stage last year at Griffin Park. This time round, it's at the brand new Brentford Community Stadium. Des, another romantic story. Okay, Brentford are quite good in the Championship, but this would be a scalp.
Big time. And Ross, Bob, Craig, get your money out. Send it over to me. I'm going to find a legal way to put on bet on Brentford beating Leicester. I'll even put some of my own shekels into the pile as well. Because Brentford are a team who like to actually knock people off their, to use a phrase, perches. They like the big occasion. They like bloodying noses. I thought they were so hard done by in the game against Tottenham in the League Cup recently that they will have the fight for the FA Cup. They're actually well in the race for the automatic promotion place from the Championship. I think there is more ambition there than Bob suggests. They're based on Moneyball, but as soon as you inject 150 million quid into a club, I think you would see a difference there. They're a great community club. They've got the new stadium. When fans are coming in, that will generate a lot of income. It's in a very, very wealthy part of the country. This is a Brentford team on the up and up. And remember, Brentford were once second in the top flight, admittedly before the war, 37, I think it was. So they're not completely unused to being up there, but I love what this club have done. They've done it within their financial means. They've been very sensible. They've got a progressive coach. They've got a progressive idea. They've implemented their ideas, and they've built on that. There's so much to like about it, rather than the way Wolves got up, which was infused by dodginess with agents, etc., and without just going and spending millions and millions of bucks. This is a great story for me. This is my kind of club, just in the wrong part of the country.
All right. Leicester City transfer gossip. They're considering, apparently, Christian Eriksen from Inter Milan or Martin Odegaard from Real Madrid in this transfer window. Brentford versus Leicester is Sunday at 10:30 p.m. The big one, part 2 of last weekend's action. Man United versus Liverpool is Monday, 1 a.m. Amazingly, I read this and I didn't believe this. Liverpool are actually Man United's most common opponent in the FA Cup, Craig Moraes. 17 previous FA Cup meetings between the sides. My first memory, can I just jump in first, of watching this, of actually watching an entire football game live was 1977 FA Cup final, when Man United beat Liverpool 2-1. And Liverpool were super strong. They had Kevin Keegan in the side and everybody. But how do you see this one going?
Yeah, it's a tough one. It really is a good stat there. I didn't know that they were, but when you think back at it, we have played Liverpool a lot of times, especially in the last 20 years or so. We played them quite a few times in the FA Cup. This is a tough one. Liverpool obviously not on a great run of form, and as I said last week, the kind of form book goes out the window when it comes to this. I mean, you're talking about two heated rivals. Klopp obviously had this game in mind when he rested the likes of Mo Salah, Firmino, over last night really. So it's going to be a tough one. The one thing that I would say is that United have that extra bit of rest as well, which could make a difference to this fixture. I've just got to back United win as always. I can't. I thought Liverpool dominated possession last week, and were obviously controlling the game, but they didn't do much with it. David De Gea didn't really do much apart from a Thiago a strike from 25 yards. I thought United defended really well. Best two chances of the match obviously fell to United, and they really should have taken at least one of them. So snatch and grab, if you like. I see, this game kind of going the same way. And I expect a narrow win for United.
It's strange to say this, Bob, but I guess there's some pressure on Jurgen Klopp coming into this tie.
Well, yes, in terms of restoring the Liverpool stride, if you like. I mean, they're now out of the top 4 even, and where they are is actually unthinkable. Would have been unthinkable like last season or early this season. But there are huge mitigating circumstances. I mean, the injuries have disrupted them, and although they have camouflaged it to some extent at the back, the guys who have played there, both the youngsters and Fabinho and Jordan Henderson, they've done well. They've adapted well. But the big miss to me has been Diogo Jota. I think they've missed him more than they've missed Van Dijk. They've managed to cover for Van Dijk in a fashion, but they've not covered for Jota. He was scoring all the goals before he got injured. I mean, let's face it, he was actually better than what we thought. We didn't think he was going to be as prolific a goal scorer as he turned out to be. And I bet that Jurgen Klopp rues playing him in that dead game against Midtjylland in the Champions League. But Klopp does believe in playing his best team, or as near as damn it. And I think this is probably one of the reasons for the problem they've got now. There is a sign of fatigue. They keep doing the same things. I mean, that game last week against United, I thought they played very well for the first half hour. They really bossed the game. And if they'd scored a goal, they could have won that quite comfortably. But the goals are not going in this season. And you see they're getting too intricate. The front three, they're getting too intricate. And they just get lost in a forest of legs on the edge of the penalty area. And they don't even have many shots on target, as Craig said. Last night even. I mean, Burnley were stubborn in defence, but it wasn't the Alamo. I mean, the Liverpool were not hitting the target very often. There was that one save that Des mentioned. But they've got to find a way through. And this is the problem. And I do put it partly down to fatigue, partly down to the loss of Diogo Jota. But Klopp has said they will play their way through it. They're still a great side. And they just need a break. Everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong. But I see this as an opportunity, and I'm sure Klopp will see it as well. Playing United, you might think, of all people, after the loss to Burnley, with 1 day's less rest, well, what better opponent to play to find your spark? If they can beat United, it's only the FA Cup and they're only in the 5th round, but what a statement that would make for the league. I mean, there's no points at stake, but that would say that Liverpool are still very much in the title race. And I think he will be pressing that message to his players. And I wouldn't be surprised if Liverpool didn't win this after all.
All right, Des, how do you see the game playing out at Old Trafford, at a wet Old Trafford on Sunday?
Okay, well, Liverpool play Tottenham 3 days later at Tottenham, and then West Ham a further 3 days after that. So there's a lot of games coming up. But to answer your earlier question, Jurgen Klopp under pressure? Not in the slightest. Not in the remotest way is he under pressure.
I don't mean under pressure for the sack. I meant under pressure, because of high
self-induced pressure. I also need to correct Bob in that Liverpool are the top scorers in the league this season, Bob. They've got 37. They've been shot shy since the MCO coincidentally came around, and the MCO has been extended to February the 4th. So hope Jurgen's not listening to the Malaysian press and following the MCO here.
But they haven't scored for 4 games.
Yeah, exactly. But they are the top scorers, and the chances will come. The one against Origi, underside of the bar yesterday, and Didi's goes in, Origi stays out. Off the line in the last minute against Burnley. It could have gone anywhere. It went straight to Ben Mee. And Pope's 2 sensational saves. So Liverpool are a class side. They're adjusting to Thiago Alcantara. He does play the game differently in that he tries to thread passes through. And I think everybody in the world, not only Liverpool fans, thought that Thiago would come in and be an instant success. It's not proven to be that, but I see this exactly as Bob says, as an opportunity for Liverpool to maybe make a statement, to get the rust out of their legs, and to really go on to what is a really, really difficult month ahead. Because after Tottenham and West Ham, Leicester's quickly, Everton's very quick, there's Brighton as well, and there's also a match at Leicester as well. They play all the top clubs, and then the Champions League kicks in. We just need to reboot and restart all over again. But Jurgen's not under any pressure. He's got 3 years worth of grace.
Sorry, Ross, just touching on what Des said. I totally agree in terms of them needing this win. But the danger is if they don't, And with that tough fixtures coming up ahead, could that mean if they don't get many points out of that could see them falling all the way down and maybe possibly even struggling to get the Champions League, as Jamie Carragher said last night. So that's also a real possibility. They need this win. They do.
It's more than just an FA Cup tie. Man United versus Liverpool, Monday, 1 a.m. kickoff. Everton against Sheffield Wednesday is Monday, 4 a.m. kickoff. I was briefly looking up previews for this one, and apparently there's a 55-year curse Sheffield Wednesday are trying to break. Not much of a curse, really. They didn't do very well, but Everton, how seriously are they're gonna take this cup, because they too have big league games coming up in midweek, Bob?
Yeah, they'll take it seriously. Ancelotti has won it, hasn't he? At Chelsea, he famously won the double and got sacked. Even a double isn't good enough for Roman Abramovich. Yeah, Everton, they know well. They've celebrated twice the title, but they know in their hearts they're not going to win it. So the cup would be great for them. It would be a fantastic fillip for the club, and a statement that Ancelotti is really turning things around there, and justify the money that's been spent. So I think they'll be taking this very seriously. Everton Sheffield Wednesday reminds me of a famous FA Cup final in 1966.
Absolutely.
Which,
good year, good year.
It was. There was another famous final in '66 as well. I can't quite think what it was now. But this wasn't bad either. Everton, Sheffield Wednesday. I remember the hero, Mike Trebilco, who was a sort of an unknown player, journeyman player, never went on to be anything great, but he scored a couple of memorable goals in this. And Sheffield Wednesday ended up losing, but they played so well that they did a lap of honour, and it was the first time that the losers had done a lap of honour. So that's my memory of Sheffield Wednesday and Everton. Everton were a top side by the way, then, as good as Liverpool.
I remember Sheffield Wednesday of old being the Premier League side, the force team in Sheffield. And United, Alex Ferguson was always trying to sign David Hirst. Never did get him in the end, thankfully, because he was injury prone. But they also had Chris Waddle running along the wing for them back in the heyday. But how do you see this one playing out, Craig Marias?
I don't fancy an upset here, I've got to be honest with you. I don't at all. But I think it'll be a Leicester win.
There's the Toffees. Are they going to celebrate an FA Cup win?
They're going to take it seriously, but I just want to go back to that 66, because when you were allowed to enjoy yourself in football, there was a lad called Eddie Kavanagh, who when Mike Trebilco scored that go-ahead goal, in fact, I think it was the equaliser, he became the first pitch invader. Look it up on YouTube. 66 Cup final, Eddie Kavanagh, Cavanagh, and look at the number of tackles he evades from policemen as he goes on his tackle, and his blaze is ripped off and everything. It is the most magnificent raiding of the pitch when you are allowed to enjoy football, and he is known throughout Merseyside, even to this day. Eddie Kavanagh for the cup final pitch invasion during Everton's win. And I think it's not quite the same passion, but Everton will fancy this because Sheffield Wednesday are still struggling.
Ross, quickly, really want to add to this. I do think that Everton have their best chance of winning silverware this season than they've had in a long time. And I do think if they do get this win, in terms of winning the FA Cup, if they do win this could possibly lead to the next couple of years of really of some real silverware and some challenges in the Premier League, because I think there'll be a lot of money pumped in there, if there isn't already, a lot of money being pumped in there, and players will look at this as a good project to go to.
All right, it's a 4 a.m. kickoff, Everton versus Sheffield Wednesday. Wycombe Wanderers against Tottenham is Tuesday at 3:45 a.m. I was reading some reports on this one, Bob Holmes. Some are saying that this could be Dele Alli's last game for Tottenham Hotspur.
Yes, but I don't think Mourinho wants to lose him, does he? I mean, he's not a big fan of his, but he needs all the bodies he can get because they're involved in everything. And Mourinho wants a trophy badly. They've had a tough time so far. Seem to have been playing since, well, they never did stop playing hardly, did they? They started their season early. And they're in everything. They reached the final of the League Cup even. And Mourinho's won the FA Cup a couple of times, knows what it's like, and he'll be fancying this. So again, I mean, it's on the banana skin list, but you can't really see it. Dele Alli, unhappy there, and teams want him. PSG apparently want him, and he wants to go. But it's a question of whether Spurs are prepared to let him go. I think it might be just as well to let him go because it's no good keeping unhappy players. I mean, we've seen that example countless times, and I think he might do okay abroad. I mean, he's not a bad player. I don't think he was as good as he was cracked up to be. Quite, and his attitude has been questionable at times, but I think he deserves a chance at another club, and it might be the best solution all round.
Wycombe Wanderers, Des Corkill, are bottom of the Championship. 2 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw in their last 5. As Craig has mentioned before, and a lot of people too, form book goes out the window when it's the FA Cup, and they're at home. I know, albeit empty stadium, but at home.
Yeah, so it's a bit like Sheffield Wednesday, because Sheffield Wednesday are above them, even though Sheffield Wednesday had a points deduction. That's how bad Wycombe have been. They can't even get above a team with a 6 points deduction. No redeeming graces for Wycombe. It's a hard slog when you're going possibly down the leagues. You've just got to believe in your methodology. You've just got to try to not be embarrassed, not be humiliated. However, this is Tottenham. I can see Tottenham taking a 1-goal lead. Wycombe equalising towards the end for a guaranteed 1-1 draw. Tottenham sneaking it through with a dodgy penalty that goes in off the goalkeeper's backside.
There you have it. You can actually keep your Tuesday morning free, that one. At 3:45 a.m., that one kicks off on Tuesday morning. Wycombe Wanderers against Tottenham Hotspur. That's just about all the FA Cup previews we can do for you. 16 matches. We'll talk about them the next time. For now, I'm going to say thanks to Bob Holmes, to Craig Marias, and to Des Corkill, and wish you all a superb weekend. Bye now.